Well, good morning, everyone. And how are you? Once again, welcome to another live here this morning. And we're happy to have you come on if you can. And we appreciate that. We always love to say hello to our dear friends. And notice I'm sucking on some B12. Okay. I am letting it melt in my mouth. Okay. Hi, Mike from Norland, Andrea. Let's see if Brahim is up here on the top. Nope. John, you're in the Trinity this morning. And Wendy, how are you? From Wasaga. Lynn from Aurora, good morning. Sandy from Fergus Falls, Minnesota. Francis Marie, good morning to you. Amber, New Jersey, how are you? Sandy, Chilliwack, British Columbia. Rosa, Moriat. Rosalinda, the Kidneys of Canada, Niagara Falls. Sandy, Vancouver, Washington. Crystal, in Regina. Heather, how are you doing? I missed one. Serpa, because I was thinking about something. Kevin. And Kevin's from Oshawa, and Fran's from Orangeville, and Vonda's from PEI. Rita, good morning. And Bev, how are you from Saskatchewan? Wendy from Markham, good morning. Patricia. Catherine, Springdale, Newfoundland. Gary, Bolton. And Frida, good morning. And Sandy, another Sandy, but Sandy's from Peterborough. Wanda from Virginia. Robin, how are you? From Connecticut. Sandy, it's like I know all you guys so much. Laurie, Cambridge. Lise, I would love to get together with all of you and just give you a big hug. Heidi, Donna, Newfoundland. Wendy, London, Ontario. And Hazel, good morning to you, Hazel. Diane from Thunder Bay. Norma from Texas. And Brandon, how are you? From Indiana. And he says it's Craig and Darla. I don't. And Rosalinda from the Kidneys of Canada. Carol, up in the clouds. Who else was in the clouds? Karen, Little Britain. There's Brahim. What happened to you, my friend? Laurie, how are you? And Mary, New Brunswick. Hey, Brahim is blaming the internet this morning. Brandon, Meta. Hello. And Cheryl, West Virginia. Oh, 77 degrees in Portland today. Holy smoke. Carol, Anna, Manitoba. Another Carol. How are you, Carol? And Brenda from Hanmer. I know where that is. Elaine, good morning to you. Rain Cloud, good morning. You guys are unbelievable. You know that, eh? Teresa, Indiana, got us two more. Marlene, how are you from Newfoundland? Carol from Hollywood, Florida. I know where Hollywood, Florida is. Kathy, Maureen, Penticton, British Columbia. Sandy, and Melika. Did I miss you, Melika? I didn't mean to. Okay, Sherry, how are you? And Georgie. Okay, couple of questions I didn't answer. Let me do them quickly. I got some great stories here. Okay, our articles. Did you get our email this morning? Okay, I think it's this morning. We put it out. Okay, on those folks that came back from outer space. I actually watched the landing on TV last Monday. I don't know if you guys noticed that, but they came and they landed. And remember I don't know if you saw it at all, but these dolphins, around the spacecraft. I always find that fascinating, how they can just come back and land pretty well where they want to. And the ocean was smooth. And these dolphins were swimming around them. But the email we wrote about, and if you don't get our emails, go to martinclinic.com and sign up, okay? martinclinic.com, sign up for the emails because we put a lot of information that's, sometimes I don't talk about here. And we write those emails for you guys just to give you more and more and more information. I've got a lot of people like that. And I think I got to ask Tony Jr. again there, but over 100,000 people signed up for those emails. Okay, so sign up, martinclinic.com, because this morning we talked about those astronauts. And you know what happened to them? Of course, they were only supposed to go up for a few days into space, and they got caught up there. And they were brought back, okay, by Elon Musk and his spacecraft. Anyway, you know what they found out? They aged pretty quickly there. You know, you go out into outer space, and the problem is because of the radiation and the lack of gravity, you and I were built for gravity, okay? Without it, your organs shift and that, but what at the cellular level, what happens is the mitochondria, okay, your battery packs, they get damaged in outer space. I mean, they knew this way ahead of time, and it's a problem for them. I don't know why they haven't called me. Why hasn't NASA or who else is involved? Why don't they call me? I could tell them how to protect their mitochondria in outer space. I'm serious. Okay? So what they found out is, and what they know, is that mitochondria get aged and damaged by the lack of gravity and the radiation in space. Okay? So, mitochondria, by the way, are your battery packs. Okay? You learn that in high school. You got battery packs. And they take your food, break it down, your food is broken down, and then your mitochondria take it and they release energy, ATP. Remember that from high school? Okay? I was always fascinated by that. We got battery packs? Yeah, we do. And the mitochondria, you want to protect your mitochondria because even your brain is a huge energy center. Think of it. It's the federal government of your body. It demands a lot of your taxes, okay? It wants, when you eat, 25% approximately of whatever you eat goes to your brain. Brain goes, I got a lot of mitochondria up here that need that food, need that energy. And they're going to output what you give it up in the brain. So the brain is huge. So is your heart. Think of it. It's a pump. It's got a lot of mitochondria in it. Okay? It's got a lot of mitochondria in it. And one of the things that make your mitochondria work properly is a substance that your body makes called CoQ10. Okay? CoQ10. Now you can get CoQ10 in two forms. Ubiquinone, don't do it. Ubiquinol, OL. That's the one you want. Ubiquinone, your body has a hard time absorbing it. But what we know about those battery packs, the mitochondria, and what made CoQ10 famous is because of statin drugs. What are statin drugs? Cholesterol-lowering medication. And there isn't anyone on the planet would argue about this, okay? You'll get a lot of people saying, to take statin drugs. Okay, I'm not big on statin drugs. I never have been, and you will never convince me that statin drugs are great. But anyway, let's stick to the mitochondria. You know what we know about statin drugs? This is common knowledge. Even pharmacists know this. is that statin drugs destroy CoQ10. Well, think about it for a minute. If statin drugs, follow me for a second. If statin drugs, well-known side effect is that it destroys your CoQ10, the pathway that makes CoQ10 in your body. Well, your battery packs, your mitochondria, they don't work properly without CoQ10. Okay? Think about that. Here they are trying to protect your heart by lowering your cholesterol, and they destroy your CoQ10, your battery packs within your heart and brain and muscles. That's one of the big problems in statin drugs, rhombolithiasis. Say that fast 3 times. Rhombolithiasis. You know what rhombolithiasis is? Muscle wasting. Very common with statin drugs. Okay? What am I saying? Well, your mitochondria needs CoQ10 for it to be strong, for it to reproduce themselves. The more mitochondria you have, the better it is. And the stronger they are, the better, the more output they put out. Think of it. They put out more energy, ATP. So this is what we were talking about this morning in that email, that the mitochondria damage and the aging that takes place rapidly in outer space. These 2 astronauts that have been stuck up in space for months, they're like laboratory mice. Why? Because when they came back, they could see, oh, gee, they really aged fast. I don't know why they didn't give them ubiquinol. Why would they not take a supplement of ubiquinol? I'm telling you, to me, it's simple. And of course, you know where you get ubiquinol in food? How do you produce more ubiquinol in food? When you eat steak. Yeah, CoQ10, remember I mentioned the 5 C's yesterday, which you get in steak? One of them is CoQ10. CoQ10, you want to elevate your CoQ10, you need to eat animal food. When someone tells you not to eat animal food, eggs, meat, dairy, run. They don't know what they're talking about. Anti-aging. And by the way, we put it in the email this morning. The other thing that protects your mitochondria from aging are antioxidants. Okay? So fruits and vegetables, they have antioxidants. Wonderful. But the best, and I would send it up to space with them, all they have to do is call me, is I would send them up there with pine bark extract, the most powerful antioxidant that you can take. Okay? Pine bark. Innavital. It protects your battery packs. And then, I don't know if they were doing this or not in space. Coffee. Coffee is a powerful antioxidant. Okay? Very powerful. The real vitamin C. Okay, I just thought I would bring that to you guys because I want you to sign up. If you don't get our emails, okay, sign up for the emails at Martin Clinic at, what did I just say? Info. Well, wait a minute. I don't know if you can do that or you got to go to our website. Can you send us an email, info@martinclinic.com? Nick, would you answer that question for us if you're on with us this morning, or Brandy? or someone from my staff? I know that if you go to our website, you can, martinclinic.com. Okay. Now let's get back to some questions. I just thought I would bring that to you this morning. Okay. Okay, questions. Okay, the ones I didn't answer. Let's see. Erica was asking about liver cysts and can you get rid of them? Yep. They're growth. That doesn't mean that they're cancerous. Cyst on the liver. Look, always remember this, okay? There's two things that make things grow. Okay? You guys should know this. If I said, close your textbooks, okay? I'm thinking high school. Close your books, okay? Now, turn off the internet. No, don't do that. You're going to turn me off. Okay? Close your computer. If I ask you the question, give me 2 growth hormones. Okay? Go. Give me 2 growth hormones. Okay? Because then we're going to answer Erica's question. And Joseph is watching from Ghana. Barbara, hi from Nova Scotia. Give me 2 growth hormones. Kevin is saying you can go to info@martinclinic.com. That's our email. Send us an email. We'll sign you up. I guess, hey, Kev? I don't know. Okay, I'm waiting. Annette, you're so smart. Judy, you're so smart. Sylvia, you're so smart. Gertie, you're so smart. Oh, you guys, I'm telling you. Hi, Deb. Heather, yeah, insulin. What's the other one? Bonnie, you got it. You guys. Janice, insulin. Okay. And Kristen, yep. I'm telling you. Margaret. Norma. I love you guys so much, Heather. Rita, yep. Cecilia, yep. Marie, estrogen, insulin, estrogen. Janice, cortisol. Yes, to some extent, cortisol pours gasoline on the fire. Milika, Rita, you know, I can't tell you how much I have. I don't tell you enough, and I got to tell you more. It's the smartest group in the world. Linda, yes, you got it. And Gary, you got it. It's estrogen and insulin, okay? Cortisol, Gary, yeah, you know, look, I like what you're thinking when you say cortisol. Cortisol pours gasoline on the fire. But the real growth hormones are insulin, makes things grow. Think fat. Insulin is a fat storing hormone. Makes fat grow. Okay? And estrogen, ladies, think about it. You got estrogen, right? And you got more fat percentage on your body compared to a man. That's just normal. Why? Estrogen makes things grow. And when they're in control, insulin and estrogen, well, you're good. So getting back to Erica's question about liver cysts, really important, Erica, get your insulin down. How do you do that? Well, food, right? Insulin is a food. You don't worry about insulin. If you eat the right things, you don't worry about insulin. Okay? When you have an egg, insulin is sitting on the sidelines going, nothing to do. You have meat. Insulin is on the sidelines. You have dairy, cheese. Insulin's going, I got nothing to do. When you have sugar, or things that turn to sugar rapidly, bread, pasta, rice, cereals, sugar, sweets, pastries, muffins, bagels, noodles, crappy dinner, What happens? Insulin gotta go to work big time. And now you're going to store fat and you're going to things grow. Insulin makes things grow, grow, grow. And estrogen makes things grow, grow, grow. This is why I tell even men, you have an enlarged prostate, you got too much estrogen. You're too much of a woman. Okay? And I know that sounds funny, but it's true. You guys are so smart. Oh, yeah, I get you. I do a little. I used to hate those in high school. I was a crammer. Okay? So I didn't like on-the-spot testing. I hated that. I didn't like it because I was a crammer. I majored in recess in school. Okay? I didn't like studying. I hated studying. But if I knew I had a test the next day, I could cram with the best of them. Okay? Tony the crammer. I could cram. But you guys, you're so smart. I asked you to close your books and your devices. Well, don't do that if you're watching me on it. But you answered the question. You're so stinking smart. I tell you, my audience, I would not even hesitate to give you honorary nutrition degrees. Wouldn't hesitate for a second. That's how smart you are. Okay, let me just see here. Patricia is asking, baby boomers, how do we prevent dementia? That's a good question, and we could spend a whole podcast or two on dementia. Okay, here is the Doctor is in podcast protocol to prevent dementia. Start with food. Why? Remember what Alzheimer's is called. Okay, won a Nobel Prize in 2005. What is it called? Type 3 diabetes. Obviously has a lot to do with food, doesn't it? Yeah. And Alzheimer's is a form of dementia. Okay? Now, so what do you do to prevent? Cut your carbs down. Eat low carbs. Okay? If you, like I said, insulin and insulin resistance is a huge component, of dementia. Lower insulin. 2, high DHA. Your brain is made up of DHA. Okay? Someone calls you fathead, take it as a compliment. And DHA is found in the animal kingdom. Okay? And we make a very specific fish oil that is a pharmaceutical grade, high DHA. I insist on it to keep your brain young. And it lubricates, and I love Navitol too. And the other thing is, okay, get your sleep. Remember when your brain has its own detox system. Okay, your brain detoxes itself. Your brain has a self-cleaning oven. Okay, it turns on at night. And it's called your glymphatics, not your lymphatics. Lymphatics are everywhere else. We've named your getting rid of toxins into your sewage system in the brain. It has its own called glymphatics, your self-cleaning oven. But it only works when you sleep. Okay? It only works when you sleep. So sleep is very important. And when you don't sleep, your cortisol goes up. And when your cortisol goes up, you don't sleep. So that's an important thing to stress. The lowest hanging fruit to lower cortisol, the lowest hanging fruit is sleep. And again, we can do another, and we will, I'm sure, more podcasts on sleeping, because I wrote the book. My son and I, sun, steak, steal, and what? Sleep. Because it's important. Sun, steak, steal, and sleep. Need your sleep. And you need melatonin. You don't need a supplement of melatonin. You need the sun to give you melatonin. And then a dark, 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 dark room to give you melatonin at night. Isn't it amazing how your body works? And it gives you melatonin. Okay? Your body makes melatonin. Okay. And exercise. Vitamin E, the real vitamin E for your brain. Okay? Vitamin E exercise. The stronger your legs, the better, the stronger your muscles, the better your brain. Okay? We know so much more about muscle today than we used to. Incredible. And coffee. Coffee wins all the time. Coffee wins all the time. 1,000 phytonutrients helping to protect that brain tissue. Okay? And, well, we talked about it today, CoQ10. Okay? I would be on ubiquinol because it's so good for you. It protects your mitochondria. It protects it and regenerates mitochondria. Makes new mitochondria in the brain. You got a lot of mitochondria in the brain. Thank you very much. And that was Patricia. Okay. Regina. Heirloom grains and making sourdough bread. Did I answer this the other day? I can't remember. Sourdough. Look, sourdough bread is a better bread. No doubt about it. And using like those ancient grains, heirloom grains, yeah, for sure. Better. Okay? But, and I put a big but to this. Okay? Get the but. Okay? And I mean it. I don't care what kind of bread it is. If you got trouble with insulin and you are on the Titanic and you're in the 93% of people that have trouble with insulin, then be very, very careful. Don't fool yourself. You and carbs don't get along. Now, I understand that some of those ancient grains and sourdough, because of the fermentation, and it's you don't need as much insulin. I understand that. But a sourdough bread's not better than an egg. Sourdough bread is not better than meat. Name your meat. Sourdough bread is not better than cheese or butter or whatever. Okay? It's good. But, and you better get the but. You better get the but, because it's better for sure. Okay? And all you guys are always asking about Rosie's bread. Okay? But listen, I'm telling you, I'm very careful with bread. If you've got trouble with insulin. Okay? And how do you know if you have trouble with insulin? You got belly fat? You got high triglycerides, low HDL, elevated uric acid, perhaps elevated blood pressure, slightly elevated blood sugar, A1C, check your A1C. You'll know if you're on the Titanic. If any of those things are not right, if any of those things are in trouble with you, you're on the Titanic. Don't fool yourself. So, I know you. I'm glad you're asking, because then I can spout up and just say, be careful. Okay? Be careful. Okay. And let me see if I have, I think it was Nez. Hold on. Let me just look again here. If I can get up my email, because where's Dr. Martin's questions here? Here they are. Okay. Bear with me for one shake, guys. Let's see. Oh, Nez. Okay. What would Dr. Martin recommend for a woman in the throes of menopause? I like that. Well, I don't like the idea that you're suffering in menopause, but I like the wording you used. The throes of menopause. Meaning you got hormones. That's what. Okay. I used to have a t-shirt. You got hormones? Okay. Hormones. That's what they're called. Sometimes, you're in menopause or perimenopausal or whatever, and you're look what Nez is saying. Bleeding profusely. Okay. And low iron. Yeah, well, now you're anemic. Get on B12. Get on our, it used to be called Blood Boost. Get on the multi-nutrient, really important. You might have to take iron. I like a liquid iron if you need it, okay? But we have the best iron in our supplement, the liquid multi, okay? Multi-nutrient. We had to change the name. Ooh. Don't get me going. Okay. I think I've answered all the questions. Yep. Okay. Okay, now. Okay, just as far as I know, I'm on my way to Denver. Okay, conference. Okay, with Tony Jr. and a couple of my grandchildren. Okay, we're on our way to Denver conference. And I think I'm going to be all right to do podcasting from there. Now, that'll mean 6:30 in the morning for me, but that's nothing for you guys that are on the West Coast or whatever. And you guys are up bright and early to get these lives, okay? So I'm going to do, if I change times, I will let you know, okay? And hopefully I'll let my staff know so they can post it, okay? But I think I'm going to be good, okay, to go at our regular times the rest of the week, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, okay? So stay tuned. And we got, like I said, lots of studies and things to do and yada, yada, yada. Guys, you're wonderful. We appreciate it, okay? You remember how smart you are. We appreciate that. You have no idea. Okay, talk to you soon.